Hi, my name is David Tilton. I just want to talk about something that I love so much. But first, I want you to imagine. Think of a nice, cool environment where there's not the lighting has been dimmed. It's a restaurant feel. You can hear this classic saxophone and piano playing in the background. If you guys were thinking about jazz, that is exactly the topic I'm going to be speaking on. Jazz music is such a part of history, especially since it started in New Orleans, and started around the 1900s. Started with a few people playing it to being the whole entire world starting to play it. And Kansas City was one of those places. Kansas City is actually a big part of the entire history here in Kansas City. It's changing society and people as we know. It is something that has inspired me as well as many others to look for further opportunities to inspire many other people. But first, why do people even listen to it? According to a Jazz Letter, it's a website that was doing some research on it, and they actually found that people are 25 less depressed that regularly listen to jazz music. It is music that calms a person down. That is why they play it in the libraries, where they play it in other other places to help bring that calm and tranquility into people's lives. And it is why that a lot of times when you go to different places that jazz music is never never one of those musics that people discord about, like they don't like or anything like that, because there's so many people that love it and like love the calming effects that are with it. It is also something to dance to. There were so many nightclubs back then in the 1920s, 1930s that people would go almost every night to go to these places. There was at least 100 of these nightclubs. 100. There only exist 40 now, but if you were back then, it would have just every night would have been a normal thing to go to a nightclub and listen to some jazz music and dance. And people who play the jazz music, they're way more smarter because one, they have to play they play a different music every single time. They never play the exact same thing every time they play. They also are smarter because they have to adapt in that situation when they're not playing the same music. So they have to keep adapting and listen with their ears of how to adapt that music to that specific music that they're playing at that moment. There's also a lot of Kansas City history with it. There's been a lot of famous artists that have been born here, such as Charlie Parker, Benny Moulton, Benny Goodman, and Count Basie were just a few of them. They played jazz and actually changed the genre of jazz here in Kansas City. Claude Williams once said, the Kansas City was different from all other places because we'd be jamming all night, and if you come here playing the wrong thing, we'd straighten you out. And music has just been such a big part in Kansas City. There are several buildings that still exist that are playing jazz music live. For the Phoenix, the Blue Room, the Majestic Restaurant, there are just a few of the places that are still active and they're still playing jazz music. And they're finally, jazz music is such an inspiration for people. I mean, people say the academic definition is like a genre of music in the New Orleans around the 1900s that is by a strong, prominent, and meter improvisation, distinctive tone colors and performance techniques, and dotted with syncopated rhythmic patterns. But as we know, jazz is so much more. It has inspired me, it has inspired a million other people. But to be more, much more, is to be inspiration, motivation, passion, discipline, many other attributes to help create a beautiful masterpiece. It is something that inspires people to explore further possibilities. In conclusion to all these remarks, I know that Kansas City is never going to lose this music. When I went to my first performance here in Kansas City, it was at a B&B Theaters. They were playing a live music, jazz music, and I was able to get my first taste of Kansas City's jazz music, and I loved it. It has been an inspiration for me as well as many others. We've been changed, and we are going to continue to change for it. That's what the purpose of jazz music, right? But I know that as people listen to the jazz music, they're going to get more inspired, and they're going to keep on learning new things, new skills, and that since it's already been Kansas City has already had jazz music for at least 100 years. why not keep it another 100? Nobody nobody can take this from us. This is something that has always been in our culture and will continue being in our culture forever. And thanks guys for listening, and you guys have a great week.